My name is Chris Hughes, and this is the American Business Show. We join business owners to take a close look at what made their businesses prosper and what to look out for in the marketplace today. If you're interested in how to get started or how to keep going, this show is a resource for you. In this episode, we talk with Abbas Selgi of Terra Nova Violins. Abbas has an amazing story that is both inspirational and eye-opening. Through trials and difficulties, Abbas has persevered and created a wonderful business with a loyal customer base and a bright future. Abbas, can you give us a scope of what your company does?
We are selling instrument like a fine string instrument like violin, viola, cello, and basses, and we fully restore them over here. We do also repair and sell accessories and stuff like that for all those instruments.
You have a unique entrepreneurial story in that you didn't start here in the United States. Can you tell us about your upbringing and how you came to the United States?
Sure. It's my background. We are military in Iran. My father was military, my brother was in military, my uncle was military. Yeah, actually it was a plan for me to be in the military also, because that's a plan always, is a father actually make him. But after the revolution happened, everything fell apart. My father was a bodyguard for the king, the Shah of Iran, and after revolution, we lost everything. And my brother was a military pilot, and that's also he get off the job stuff. And we pretty much one by one we get out of the country. I was the last. I came at 1996, I believe. And I was the last person. My two brothers and mom been here for like 10, 15 years before me, or 20 years before me. We didn't have a choice. We must stay over there with a lot of issues. Mentally, we couldn't handle it. We just it was pretty difficult for us. The only choice we just had him to just come here. And because my brother came over here for training, and he back to U.S. and I believe 1979 or 1980, and after that we all joined him. Yeah.
And so what I thought was interesting about your story is you actually started working on instruments there in Iran, is that correct?
Yes.
But it was illegal at the time, is that right?
Yeah, that was illegal, because it's like if you see some movies in the back, like a red violin or something, it was the revolution in China. The people are against Western, everything from West. The West was enemy. It doesn't matter. It's a violin, instrument, or anything. Music, everything was enemy that time for the people. And the people didn't like the government, most likely. And they didn't want music. And that's what we been in the basement and making instrument with my master. That time I turned 18 and finished the high school. It was already in a war with Iraq, and we have to go to war. It's no question. Every kid have to go to war. And my father didn't want me, and he held me back. He said he had a heart issues or something. He said, as soon as you go, I'm gonna die, because I cannot handle this. And I said, I cannot get job, I cannot do anything. He said, I'll find you a job. And he go to basement with one of our friends working on the instrument. He asked him, he said, if you need help. I said, yeah, I really like help. And I joined him and worked for several years with him in a basement. But it was funny, we put him with a newspaper, wrap him, put him in the back of the trunk of the car and just go. It was pretty harsh. It was not really fun to work, with those.
And did you take to the work? Did you like it? Did you find yourself to be good at it?
Yes, but what I trained when I was in high school, I tried to, because I like the work with my hand, and I pick after. It's a little different than here. In Iran, we could choose what job we want to go. And that's the reason some kids from 5th grade go exactly to, for example, I want to go music. I go to the middle school, only teach you music. And after that, high school and college. I picked to be a mechanic. I love to work with my hand, and said I like to be a mechanic. My plan was be a pilot, because my older brother was pilot. And they accepted. They said, okay, I can go to mechanical school and learn mechanic, And at the same time, after I graduate, I can join the Air Force. And that's the thing, I work with my hand, and it's just pretty much, I had crafted pretty much with tools and stuff. When I start working with, it was a little hard. You working with metal and transfer them to pretty much wood. I like to be, working with metal. I really like metal. But that time I see a wood, I say, I don't know, it's going to be fun for me. Everything is about the artistry, it's just, maybe it's part of it, it's just a science. Science is really important. Acoustic, stuff like that, it's really important. But the art is, that's the thing, is art and acoustic make the instrument, and they make a difference. Some people knows about acoustic, but they don't know about workmanship or something. Is not go. They need to be both together in it to be a fine maker, fine instrument.
When did you come over here to the U.S.?
I was around 30 years old. Yeah, I worked I had a workshop for myself in Iran, and with some people work for me.
So let's be clear then. So you spent 10 years becoming a master yourself, is that right?
That's
over
right.
in Iran?
Yeah, it was in our country, they don't teach each other. When you have a music, it's just go from father to son. And they don't show each other. And most of the master we had, those are like 80, 90 years old, 70 years old. The new generation didn't want to work with a traditional instrument or some working on an instrument. That was really interesting for a lot of master players to see me as 18, 19 years old, starting to instrument maker, and that's really helped me. And I get them really quick. Yeah, I was one of those young master in my country, and it was a big change in the music industry in my country as well. Because I was young, I was open-minded to teaching a lot of people. And after me, I know that time I left my country, hundreds of people learned from me because I teach them. I said, and I always believe more makers making instruments is going to be more players. And that's, I didn't have any like a jealousy or something. I said, oh, this is mine, I'm not going to teach anybody. That's the reason I'm teaching to other people's. And it was a big change. Right now, I've seen 1,000 of makers. It just pretty much it branched from me, and after that, the people I've worked with them.
So you came over here to the U.S. whenever you were 30. Did you start repairing instruments right away, or how did you progress into that?
Yeah,
year?
I was 2 weeks. I was a busboy because I didn't have job. For sure, my English was limited, and they told me, so you need a job and you need to do something. I said, I don't know. I said, okay, go to restaurant. I worked 2 weeks in the restaurant. It was funny. As soon as in a week or so, I told my brother, this is not my country. This is not the place I want to work. I want it back to my country. I was a master. I was, person. The people work for me, and I did something good. I don't want to, mop the floor or something. This is not working for me. And they said, let's find out if we can find a job. It's just match you. And it was a local shop. We have a friend, actually. He was a guitar player. He was a fine guitar player. He introduced us to the one small shop in town. And that's what I started there. It was not I want to do, but that was a good starting for me. Yeah.
And at what point in time did you start taking clients on yourself?
Yes, I did. I worked in San Antonio for several years. After that, again, it was limited for myself. I couldn't upgrade my knowledge in here because, again, this pretty much of the business, they don't like to teach each other very much. They like to keep the people because they believe as soon as they learn, they're gonna go and find a job or they open a business and be a competition. That's what I find. Business in Austin, they hire me over there. And I work in Austin for 2 different places. I had a full-time job, and as a luthier also after work, I work for the different company. And that's pretty much, I stay over there until 2002. At 2002, we moved back to San Antonio because I had a lot of customers. They come from San Antonio to Austin to see me and do business with me. And they offer me, if you come back to San Antonio, we're gonna give you business and stuff like that. And we don't have anybody. That's why I moved back to San Antonio for 1 year because I was scared to open I didn't have a house. I had a small apartment. I make one of the room as a pretty much as a workshop. And we worked there, and my wife always supporting me. She was the one always next to me, and it's all this pressure, it was come, and she didn't say, and I said, it was next to me and helping me. And that's what we both together, we could make it. I had 3 kids. I have twin boys and a daughter. And they were just just like 5-6 months when we moved to San Antonio. After a year, I stayed in an apartment. I bought the house and make the garage to the full workshop. And that was the time I start to get more customers.
I want to take a step back. I wasn't planning on asking this, but I think it's worth exploring, though, because I've seen this over and over again in business. What is the value of having your spouse on the same page or supportive of you in your endeavor?
It's, if you are married or you are a couple, if the person is against it or he doesn't like the way you're working, it's not going to go anywhere. They need to support you. They need to be next to you. It's sad, but at the same time, when you look at it, when I see videos or picture of the kids, sometimes I don't remember those days because I was so much in the business, because I worked so hard. I back from Austin to San Antonio because I had both jobs. I kept my full-time job in Austin and I commute every day to Austin back and forth from San Antonio. I've worked up to 6:30, 7 o'clock in Austin, back here. Around 8:30, 9 I get home. And that was the time I see my client. They come up to like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning to see me. And I work sometimes to 4 in the morning. And 4 in the morning, I take a nap. And again, at 8, I must just run to the shop because it's supposed to be 10 o'clock there. It was a hard days for me, but I said, those days my wife didn't let me to feel anything. It just work. And the kids, she take care of the kids, she take care of the whole entire house. I didn't want to pay attention to those things. It just whole entire my brain was in the business. That's really important. Yeah. Be honest. It still is like from 2002, 2001, and it's about 20 years. Still, my job is the same way. I'm still working hard. The kids are, older. They don't need too much thing, but still, it's a lot of work because in the afternoon I close here at 7 o'clock. I need to put the instrument back and drive to Austin. And until I go to Austin and back, it's going to be like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. And I just come back home, we just talk 5-10 minutes with kids, my wife or something, go to bed, and in the morning I need to wake up again. It's a pretty hard thing. I don't know if I can do it again. I don't know. But be honest, because I have responsibility to myself, to my family, and the responsibility I have to my kids. I like to have a good life and raise them the way I like to raise them the best way.
So you were working up in Austin, and you took clients on down here. Eventually, they convinced you to make the move down here.
That's right.
At what point in time did you decide to make this an official business, get the storefront? How did that progress?
What happened after like 2-3 years, actually from 2002 pretty much to 2006, about almost 40 years. I look at the paper, what I make in my garage and what I did, and I have a lot of clients. I said, this is time I cannot, do both because it's get too many clients here. And also I work in Austin. What I did, I decided to open a shop. And what I did, the first thing, I talked with the small business, SBA. When I have couple of times back and forth with the SBA officer and talk with them and make a business plan or something, when I took it to them and look at what I did in like 4 years in my garage, they said you are eligible to get loan. And that was the thing. I get over $500,000 from SBA. And that was the time I said, okay, I have the money, I have the skill, I can start. And that's the time I decided to open a shop. And I didn't want to start it small or something because I had competition. and I must be enough to survive. If you have a big competition and you want a small business, a small shop or something, that pretty much they're gonna crash you. But that's the thing. I pretty much like over $500,000 I got from SPA. I got the good inventory and a good shop and make it. That's pretty much what we started with. And we decide to open it.
What kind of fears did you have going into that?
It's pretty hard. You just imagine you get like $500,000 and your bank account is like maybe $2,000 in it. It said it's scary because you spend the money. Said if it doesn't go well and something happen, oh my God, what am I gonna do with the bank, with the stuff like that? But I believe it because we had a lot of good customers. We had a lot of people in San Antonio that supporting me when I was in garage. They needed, this town really needs somebody to work hard, and it was enough business, even with competition, it was enough business for both of us. And that was pretty much, I was pretty confident. I said, I can make it. I can, because I know myself. And that's what I started. And at 2008, it was a little scary when everything crashed, all businesses go down. That was a little scary, but still we go through to that.
What trials have you run into along the way?
I don't know. It's pretty hard. I don't know what I can, but the best, I believe it's pretty much I want to keep them as small as possible. I like to don't let them grow more than this. I like to keep them healthy and good, and because most of the problem for a small businesses like us, we grow too fast, and that's a scary part of the business. We grow too much and we don't know how to handle it, and that's happened for us early. But we try to keep them as small as possible. I don't want to grow too much, and the size of the business we have is perfect, and I don't think I can handle more than this. That's what I'm really careful to don't get big. Again, I have a plan for two of my boys to just pass this business to them, and that's pretty much what I'm looking for, to just train them.
If you had to build this company again, could you get it to this level faster than you did the first time?
Maybe I have some more experience about the business part. I was a luthier. I was actually work on the instrument and stuff like that, but I didn't know too much about business. That was the little issue. The running business is not as difficult of the paperwork. The paperwork is really hard, and it make it more difficult here. But I'm sure I can make it much faster and much more. What I did in Austin 6 years ago, I started a business in Austin, and I knew how I make it much faster and much more. I think it's better than this. Yeah, definitely, with the experience.
If you taught a class on starting a business, what would your first lesson be about?
I don't know, it's hard. I talk with my kids, they need to be hard workers. The people need to start a business, especially for themselves, they need to have a big heart. You can lose, it was a days we had really hard time, but you need to have a plan, you need to see the future. By myself, I cannot work in a bottom. I like always climbing to the top. That's what most of the people, they need to see them. They need to see a big target. That's what, and they need to be the hard work. If you are not a hard worker, it's impossible. I don't scared of the work. That's the thing. If the people can do that, they can be success. It's nothing magic for me.
What was your thought process in starting your own business versus working for someone else?
Yeah, that was pretty much the starting point. I had a really nice boss in Austin, and he was an amazing person. And pretty much the whole shop run by me. He didn't know anything about it. But I really like to make him success. But he didn't let me. He always hold me back. I said, look, we need to order this. He said, no. I said, it is this. He said, no. Always, he was really conservative about the business. He always want to hold them back. First we need to sell this one to order the new one. But I said, if we order the new one, it's going to be like gap for like month or so. We don't have that instrument on the shelf. Pretty much, it didn't let me to express myself. He held me back. That was the thing. I offered him. I said, I'm a good worker. Do you want to start a business with me? And he said, but you don't have money. I said, I know, I don't have anything, but I have a skill. They said, no, it's not going to work here like that. You need to have money. Bring your money, put them on table. I put the money on the other side and we make a business. I said, no, unfortunately, I don't have anything. But I can get some money from the credit card. He said, no, it's not going to work that way. It's better you just put your head down and just work. I said, okay. And that's the reason I decided to just go for myself, because he hold me back. I want to be success person. Again, I always work for myself, and the people, I had a lot of people work for me. It's not because I cannot work for other people. It just hold me back. I couldn't grow. And again, when I get old, I want to have something for my family, to just left them behind, for my kids.
Do you think that you made the right choice by starting your own business?
I think so. It's, when I look it back, it's two ways. I burned myself to make the family work, to keep them, to make a good family. But I think I did a good job. I did a good thing. It was a good choice, because I want to have my kids grow in the nice environment. My kids, all of them, my daughter at least, she started when she was 4 years old. She started playing cellos. And she always had a good teachers and stuff like that. He traveled a lot. She was 12, 13 years old. Every summer she go to the different country, because she see everything. She was in all, as much as, the Europe, China, everywhere we could send her, we sent her to just see that. And that, if it was working for someone, or if it was to lay back and just be relaxed or something, I couldn't make those choices for them. She go to one of the most expensive school in Texas, and we pay everything. She go to medical school. All those expenses, you just go from the pocket. We need to support them to just grow. Otherwise, we actually hold them back. And that was pretty much, it doesn't matter. I think it was hard for me, hard for my wife, but at least when we see the result for kids, and also result, I have 15, 16 employees always. And the good things, most of the teacher, they teach in the school for the either North Side, Northeast, and some other places. They were my employees before. And because they were student at the college or before college, they come here and I give them a job, and they could actually go through to this process. And after they graduate from the college, actually going to be a teacher. And it was a good, actually, when I look at the back, it was a pretty good choice for me.
Special thanks to Abbas for sharing his amazing story with us. There's a lot of lessons we can learn from his journey, but there are two that stood out to me. First is, be a master and the work will find you. Abbas spent over 10 years learning to become a master at his craft, and when he moved here to the US, there was no shortage of work for him. People knew that he had the skill and sought him for his expertise. This lesson has got to be true for all of us in business. If you provide excellence in either your service or product, the work will find you. The second lesson about business is a big one. Creating a successful business is hard work. I talk to a lot of would-be entrepreneurs that have dreams of the lifestyle a fruitful business would provide, but very few are willing to put the work in to get it to that level. We all want to reap, but very few are willing to sow. Abbas had 2 different jobs, all while working on the side, building his own clientele. For years, Abbas was working 20 hours a day and sleeping 4. A lot of us talk about hustling, but are we willing to do it at that level? From master to busboy to successful business owner, Abbas has an amazing story that should inspire all of us. Thank you to Abbas for sharing his journey with us, and until next time, keep working hard. This episode of the American Business Show was brought to you by Bottom Line Realty Advisors. Don't ever sign a lease or a lease renewal without representation. Your landlord has professionals working on their behalf. Wouldn't you like to have a professional working on yours? Call Bottom Line Realty Advisors at 210-535-7800. That's 210-535-7800 and get the representation you deserve. This episode was also brought to you by American Business Intermediaries. Thinking of selling your business? Call American Business Intermediaries at 210-479-0907 or visit them at abitexas.com.